Yeah, let's give you another video on this monthly rental cover that a lot of you have been asking about, because it's good ways of handling things, really, isn't it? And that's the whole key behind it. What I want to do now is just to redo some more calculations for you on monthly rental. Now we're talking here about rental coverage. Here we go. Now we know what this is, rental coverage. It's where you have a buy-to-let mortgage, buy-to-let, there you go. There's your property. And you want a mortgage based upon the tenants, of course. There's your tenants. There's your tenants who will pay you a rent. You hope anyway, that's the whole point behind it. And that rent pays for your mortgage interest, that's the thing. Because lenders are very wary about lending too much, so they'll have this thing called the coverage. In other words, the maximum they'll lend you. And typically on a personal basis, it might be 145%. Coverage. It could be 125% if it's a limited company SPV mortgage. Obviously, the higher the coverage, the less they'll lend you according to the rent. And it's a concept you have to get around in your head, really. A lot of people struggle to get this in their heads, which, you know, makes sense at the end of the day. So what I've done is I've given you some calculations to work on, to actually work this one through, which is key to the whole thing. So what I've got here for you is three calculations. Did one on an earlier video. The second calculation I'm going to share with you in a second. But the method that we use is this. We call it the maximum loan. So to work out the maximum loan for somebody, again, computers do this, but if you understand it works, it gives you better understanding, really, is rent divided by the cover multiplied by, so it's obviously a standard calculation, 12 divided by the rate. That's the calculation that we use to work out the maximum loans. Let's put that around there for you. And the example I gave you last time was the property which had a rental of £650, and I gave you 145% cover on that one, and we looked at it in the last video. But this one's got slightly different. We've got a flat here with a rental valuation of £800 per calendar month. And the applicant's an individual borrower, but they're taking out a fixed rate mortgage here, 65% loan to value, a fixed rate mortgage of 5 years, which happens to be at 3.59%. So, you know, we need to work that one through, don't we? So if we work this out, let's get a different colour so you can see that, and we get the calculation going. So we've got rent, which is £800. There you go, there's 800 quid there. Divided by the cover. Now it's a single borrower, so we'll be looking here at 145%. 145%, there we go. Times by, so in maths, of course, you tend to sort of put a little bracket around that, don't you? Times by, and we've got 12, of course, which is standard, and divided by the rate. Now the rate happens to be, where are 3.59%. 3.59% is the rate itself. So what you do is you work that one through. So it's a standard 5-year fix, 3.59%, work it through, divide it by 3, work through the calculation, and that gives you, because I already prepared this one for you, that gives you a figure of 184,420. Here we are, 184,420 pounds, which is the one that I worked out earlier. So as you can see, the issue here, you've got a rent of 800 quid, which is a lot of money. So you could afford to get a mortgage of 184,000, subject to the value of the property, of course. You know, crikey, you're not going to do 110% mortgage here, are we? We've got a 5-year fix at 3.59, so the stress rate is not that bad. Remember the last one we did, which had a mortgage of, so rent of 650, we were only able to borrow, I think it was that one. That one came in at, what was the figure for that one? We're only able to borrow about 97,000 for the previous example. So you can see the difference. Reduce the interest rate, of course, which means that the monthly interest rate is a lot lower. Increase the rent and you get 184. Let me give you another one then to see how you get on with this one. Maybe you could pause the video and have a quick look. This one is another property. This one's got rent of 1,250. So let's put that in there for you. £1,250 a month rent, so it's a bigger property. This one is with a limited company, so the rental coverage we're going to use here is a lot lower, which makes life a whole lot easier. So this one's 125%. You'll start to see the difference now. It's to do with the FCA and the PRA. The PRA require that, or the FCA, that we boost it for individual people because of the taxation changes, but limited company SPVs have less tax to pay, so they actually get a more favourable rental coverage. The lower the rental coverage, the more favourable it is. So that's the first calculation. And multiply that by 12, of course. Now this particular person has got a 5-year fixed mortgage, so they've gone for the same 5-year, 3.59%. 3.59% is that one. So again, you would do separate calculation, wouldn't you? And then multiply by each one. Now I've already prepared this, so I shall let you pause the video and work it out yourself if you want to, but you don't have to. This comes up to a princely sum of 334,261, which is the maximum mortgage that they will allow on that situation. And just gets you into this kind of concept here. You've got quite a high rent coming in. I mean, £200 is good rent. I mean, around here, it's what they cost for a 2-bedroom property. The place I rented up at Haverley Street cost me 1,300 quid. It's only 2-bedroom. But £250. The rental coverage, because it's a limited company, is a lot more favourable. And because you're doing a 5-year fix, they're not going to use the stress rate, you see. They don't have to. So 3.59, which gives me a mortgage of 334,000. That's a big mortgage. Obviously, the property's got to support that. But you can see, if they were able to get slightly higher rent, for example, that would certainly increase that. If the rent came down on the valuation, that would decrease that. So this is what brokers work with on buy-to-lets. And a good broker, of course, will be able to calculate this in seconds. There's a couple more examples for you, which allows you to understand the way this all works, really. So I'm pleased that that's made a bit of a difference for you. Maybe that's got you to understand coverage in a bit more detail. See you soon. Bye.